Welcome to Inside a Voice, Africa's exclusive LinkedIn podcast, where we showcase thought leaders, experts, and opinion leaders, both from the industry within LinkedIn and just people who are getting it right on the platform. We're joined today by Jennifer Bunting, Head of EMEA Product Marketing. Jen has been working for LinkedIn for an impressive 10 years across multiple roles and regions. And before that, she's worked at some of the leading digital solutions such as Move.com, Six Apart, and AdMob. She has also been awarded top honors at LinkedIn for transformation and LinkedIn leverage in marketing. Jen, welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me, Ayanda.
We are so thrilled and excited to have you, and I'm going to jump straight into it. In your 10 years at LinkedIn, you must have done this many times before, but in true LinkedIn fashion, tell us something that's not on your LinkedIn profile.
The thing that surprises people the most that's not on my LinkedIn profile when they find out I've been really lucky and lived in a couple of different countries during my 10 years at LinkedIn. Everyone's pretty surprised I didn't actually get my passport until I was 30. So I had a lot of catching up that I had to do in terms of travel. So that's one thing that's not on my LinkedIn profile.
That is incredibly amazing. So you are a traveler at heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've spent your time at LinkedIn across multiple roles and territories. Tell us a little bit more about your role now, Head of Product Marketing in EMEA.
So for product marketing at LinkedIn, I work specifically on the marketing solutions side of our business. So those are the ad products that marketers know and love, as well as the organic products related to our pages. And I look specifically after EMEA and also recently LATAM as well. So I think about what do we need to do to launch products in these regions. I work with our customers, with our sales teams locally. I also work with our global product and product marketing teams in the US, and that can include a variety of things. Product marketing is a very broad role at a lot of different companies. So it's informing the product roadmap. Once we know what's on the product roadmap, training our sales team, informing our customers, the betas and the alphas that we do to test. We do a ton of testing at LinkedIn. And then the launch plans, all the marketing elements that go into announcing something and informing our customers. I also look at product adoption. So products that are live already, what do we need to do to help our customers use them more? And one of the things I like about being not based in America is my role becomes very broad, and I get, even though the teams are smaller, it's you get to work with so many different things because the teams are smaller in our region. So I may get pulled on projects that I wouldn't have the time or the luxury to get the experience to work on. So if we have a big marquee event, I may help with the team preparing for that. Work on different types of demand gen programs. So we have an amazing demand gen team, but they may want me to work on a webinar with them. My team also looks after case studies, which is incredibly fascinating to talk to our customers and learn what worked and ones that want to share so others can learn from them. What else? Just random things that just become marketing goodness later, newsletters, all sorts of things.
Amazing. That sounds like so much fun, Jen. And what would you say you've learned in the transitional nature of your moves across these different regions?
I've learned a lot and that I didn't expect to learn. Just when you move countries, it's your whole life that changes. And I only speak English, so I always am unilingual. So I've only lived in countries where English is the primary language. I'd love to live somewhere that it isn't and learn more. But even though I've been fortunate enough that I don't have to learn any language, if I've lived in Australia or the UK, it's a whole new culture. And one thing I think a misperception I had as a global marketer was I wasn't truly global. I was launching a product, not just at LinkedIn, but like any of the companies I've ever worked at before. You're in headquarters and you roll as global, but you don't often know the nuances of the different cultures and how the marketplaces work. And I've had the privilege to get to understand that in a lot more depth and to think about what are the things that are in common across the different regions so that you can get the most leverage out of whatever you're doing, but also as a local marketer, you get to really celebrate the differences instead of having to kind of do a plan around, okay, how can I make this work and fit? It's a hard puzzle to work. As a local marketer, I have the privilege of saying, you guys worry about the global element. I can help advise you by working with our customers here around how to make it truly local and feel relevant for marketers here. So that's been a big learning and one that I've really enjoyed, and I keep learning as I go.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Jen. And we're all very curious about working for LinkedIn. Obviously, it's been voted number 4, excuse me, rank in Ad Age's best places to work list for 2020. What do you enjoy the most about working for LinkedIn?
That's a good question. I think the things I enjoy the most don't have anything to do with we have great benefits at LinkedIn, but if you think about your work day, just 2 things. One is you spend more time talking to your colleagues and your work friends, your work wife, than you do your actual friends outside of work. So we have a really great team, and it's been that every single office I've visited or worked in at LinkedIn, everyone is really smart. The attitude is not competitive in an unhealthy way. It's helpful. So it is competitive in that everyone wants to do better, but how do you help everyone do better and succeed? And I think that's really special. And the second thing I would say is, well, LinkedIn's a tech company, so there's always something new coming along to work on. And I personally like to be challenged and learn new things. But even as a product marketer, and it's a new product, you don't want to plateau. You can always do the same launch or the same adoption. So we're always trying to challenge ourselves. And every time I've ever felt like I have plateaued, I've always had managers where I can say, I want to get more experience in something, and I want to learn by doing and up my game. And so I've found there's never been kind of a pushback to stay where you are. It's always great. So how can we help you learn, and you will help others learn and succeed?
Wow, I really love that, Jen. And I think it's testament to this, the fact that you've recently spent 10 months watching more than 38,000 pieces of B2B video. Why B2B specifically, and what are the main differences when you compare it against B2C?
So why did we do the project? So thank you, by the way, for having me on your program, the LinkedIn Live broadcast. I think it was last week. The weeks are all coming together a little bit since lockdown started. So thank you for having me on that. And hopefully some people have seen it. For those of you who didn't have a chance, so I look after product marketing, and we have a video ads product at LinkedIn. And we were just getting loads of questions from our customers around, how do you do good video? But that's a very broad question. And video is a format you can use to achieve many different things. And so we just didn't want to give one answer and have it not address all the different ways a marketer would use it. So we wanted to use data-backed guidance rather than, I'm targeted with an ad and I like this. You're going to bring your inherent biases into how you view that and whether you find it's interesting or not. You may not be in the target audience for something that someone wants to create. So we knew we needed to do some research, but on top of that, there's already a load of different video advertising best practices available online. What I found, though, is I was using them not just to advise our customers, but even our own campaigns that we do as a marketing team. They were often geared towards a B2C buy. And don't get me wrong, there's a load of creative, awesome B2C video content that more B2B marketers would benefit from borrowing from and being inspired by. But the purchase path or your decision funnel, whatever shape and analogy you like, it's more complicated in B2B. And so a lot of the best practices over-index on being short and being brief. And that works really great for selling toothpaste or crisps. It's a lot harder sell if you're trying to sell a cloud solution or a way to ship cargo across different countries and travel insurance policy for your employees. It's just really different. And the stakes are higher for those buyers and what can help them move through the funnel. So we wanted to look specifically at B2B and think about what are the best practices for video for these marketers.
And Jane, tell me, from that research, what did you find are the key common denominators for good B2B video?
So there are some common denominators, although I will caveat it by saying like, it really depends on what your objectives are. If you want to get broader awareness, you're going to look at things like reach and view through rate. If you're trying to drive conversions and leads, that's another thing. Or maybe you just want clicks to your website. Maybe you want engagement. So there's different techniques and tactics you can use with your video creative to amplify that. But across the board, I'd say one thing is storytelling. Even if it's short, do you have a purpose? You can have a 7-second video and it tells a story in 7 seconds. But likewise, especially on LinkedIn, I think audiences are on the platform for a purpose. And if the content is helpful and useful and entertaining, they'll stick with you for 30 seconds. They'll stick with you for 60 seconds. So it's all about, are you being valuable? Are you telling a story? And do you have an opportunity to be entertaining? Because B2B should not be boring. We should always be challenging ourselves to be a little more creative.
And Jen, since you're talking about the should nots, what are the things that people should stop doing?
Things you should stop doing with video. I also watched the bottom performing videos, which was really eye-opening because there's things I would probably have tried to do, and now I know not to do. I think one thing is you should always be, if you have a dialogue, always caption those, but don't get confused between captions and bullet points. So some of the bottom performing videos were just tons of copy you have to read. And I think if you've got an ebook, use the ebook, have a campaign where you're driving downloads or views to your ebook, but a video needs to be a lot lighter weight. So you shouldn't feel like you're reading a novel if you're watching a video. You can have copy. You should probably have copy or some kind of text overlay, but it should be really easy to read. I think there's a different threshold for how much someone is willing to read and stick around with if they're reading subtitles because they're watching on mute versus you're just showing lots of animated bullets and now they're getting fatigued.
Got it. And so from all of these learnings, do you have any horror stories on people who've done it badly or someone who's done it exceptionally well?
There's lots of examples for both. I think someone who's done it exceptionally well. There was, I keep talking about this bear campaign, which I thought was brilliant. And it was among the top 50 pieces of creative for both view through rate and I believe engagement rate. And it was the story of how Bayer Pharmaceuticals can help patients who are dealing with visual impairment. And they had stats and copy to explain their position and their offering around the video. But the video itself was 7 seconds and it showed a grandfather who could not see his grandchild and just the interaction between the two. And they did have, I think, one sentence pop up to kind of explain the video a little bit more, but you could understand the whole story and how Bayer was trying to solve for this, or that they were, maybe not how, but that they were, just by watching that 7 seconds. And it was pulled at your heartstrings a bit as well, which is something you may not be expecting when you're consuming B2B content.
Nice. And also, what secret about LinkedIn and its use do you think people should know about?
There's a couple of secrets. So do you mean from a video ads perspective or from a user perspective?
I would say video ads perspective, but if you can throw in the user as well, why not?
Okay, cool. So from a video perspective, I think a lot of people are surprised by the stat, although when they think about it more deeply in their own consumption, they may not be as surprised once they start contextualizing in their own experience. But it's a stat that 79% of video ads are watched with the sound off on LinkedIn. So you have a ton of time and effort as a content creator that you think about the audio, the music, the dialogue, but 79% of the time it's probably being viewed with the sound off. So really think about how you can either like tell your story without the audio, and how when the audio is on, it uplifts it even more. But definitely be thinking about that, because that can be a bit surprising because video does this great job of motion, images, sound. And
Yeah.
From a consumer standpoint, I think a lot of people are just, one thing they may not know about LinkedIn is that it is more than jobs, and it's really about coming to LinkedIn for a purpose. So marketers may not know that. So I think it was in April, there was 7.7 million hours of learning content consumed on the platform. So LinkedIn has a product called LinkedIn Learning. You can learn anything. You can learn about how to create a pivot table because you need to brush up some skills for some kind of report you need to do, to more complicated things around being a manager or programming, lots of different things. Tons of content was consumed there, which I think may surprise people. And I think the other thing is that, like, even when you're not in the LinkedIn Learning environment, audiences still want to be trained, want to learn more things. So if, as a marketer, people are on the platform to learn, and I think it's especially true with individual contributors and mid-level managers, they're really hungry for this. So if your content appeals to that need they have, that can be very beneficial to your campaigns.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing those nuggets with us, Jen. And just from your side, any upcoming changes or enhancements to video on LinkedIn we should know about?
So let's see. For video specifically, I think there's a lot more leaning in that our product team is doing around LinkedIn Live. So I think you guys at Turn Left Media already are blazing the trail with that. But for anyone watching the podcast today, LinkedIn does have a live product available. It's currently in a beta, so you have to apply for access. But once you get it, you can stream from your profile. If you're an influencer, you can stream from your page, and you can also stream from an event shell and just invite specific people. And so we're doing a lot of investment there to try and make that easier to use, and also the events product as well. And we're also looking at different ways people are consuming shorter video content and how we can highlight that better.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jen. I have one last final question for you. Of course, being very mindful of the current pandemic that we're all facing as the world or globally, when are you planning on visiting us here in Africa?
Oh, that is a question I wish I knew the answer to, Ayanda. Before the pandemic hit, I tried to plan my big holiday for the end of the year. So we normally encourage people to take like a week off between like the last week of December. And so I was planning my first trip to South Africa. I was very excited to see the beaches and do some wine tasting. So I'm hoping that can still happen, but I might be a little too optimistic. But I'm hoping I can do that soon.
Definitely. I'm sure in due time you will be visiting us soon, and we cannot wait to host you. But Jen, thank you so much for your time today. It really has been great. If anyone is interested in delving deeper into the B2B video or Jen's findings and research, you can go see the link in the description to access our webinar and the slides with all the key findings. But that's it from us today. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, Jen.
Bye.